trust your abilities, lose yourself in your character. It seems so simple, but it's what I do in every single character that I take on now. It's like, it's not me at all. If someone is looking at me, that's what she said to me as well. She's like, if someone is looking at you perform and they're thinking, oh, she's doing a great job, she's like, then you're not doing your job at all. Whereas if they look at you, they don't see you, they see the character. She's like, that's when you know you're acting.
In the Troubles, which is now on Amazon Prime, is the story which is rooted in depth with the Irish history. So what was your prep?
The Troubles, obviously, it's referring to the uprising in Ireland, and all the troubles that they call it the Troubles. It was essentially a war.
However, it was just one of many terrible incidents in what became the bloody issue
between the North and the South, and it was a lot of violence in that time. Actions and break-off groups, and it was like the Irish Republican Army.
Over the strength with one part here of your own free will.
And to other groups, and it was a lot of difficult times back then for people. Even for normal people in their everyday lives, it was kind of always looming. So there was.
Hey everyone, I am Ajay Tambe, the host and producer of Create Your Starting Podcast, and today with me I kind of have a wonderful guest. She is from Ireland. She's trained in Katie National School of Acting. Am I right? Is that true?
Yep.
She's Katie trained Irish actress. The crazy, the beautiful, and the most surprising fact about the guest is she has a repertoire in 25 plus accents. Okay, that's bizarre. That's unbelievable. And how I got connected with her is via our guest and my dear friend, Clara Landrat. These both are working on the same film, which is called as The Realm of the Waterfall, and the 6 or 9 film saga. It's kind of big film over the decades. She's part of that. This guest has been part of very big projects. One of them is The Vikings, which is my favorite. And that's how I got more interested about her and her way of doing things. I saw her clips and I thought, she's interesting. I want to know how the set of Vikings and what she performed and what was going on when she did that. She is basically working in 3 different industries: Ireland, UK, and US. Okay. And now currently she is in Ireland, I guess, because we connected on a Dublin time. She's in Dublin, by the way. Okay. She is really trained, professional, and the way we expect someone to go in depth for a role, and she delivers it, because throughout her career till the moment she has played maniacs. She's played someone who is going to murder, someone who's going to do crazy things on screen. She's done that. So all we are here to explore how she do what she do. Today we have with us Aisling Goodwin. Welcome to the show, Aisling.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great. When I read about you, I got 25 plus accents, and in the next paragraph it was 35. I thought, what is going on? It's hard to even do 2 to 3 accents, and you kind of skilled yourself in these particular accents, and you are also an accent coach. So it's like every year you're doing 2 to 3 projects which are going big. Okay, you're being guest on the show, or you're getting featured, or you're playing the lead role, and it's on different projects. So how your schedule as an actor looks like when it comes to getting up and doing the things? So what is that filled with?
Do you mean like week by week or month by month?
I mean how you schedule, what is it filled with, as in you get up and weekly? Yeah, you can go on weekly or daily basis.
I can honestly say any schedule that I've ever set out at the start of the week, by the end of the week, it doesn't look like that. I think that's the problem with being an actor, because I'm quite an organized person. So this industry is very difficult to wrap your head around, because you can have all of your plans and your schedules all you want, and then something happens and it goes out the window. And that, I think, being flexible is my schedule. I never have solid plans, because even last week I was supposed to be filming something actually in the UK, and the schedule got changed, so I had to push out the following week to adapt to those changes. But then an audition came in, and then I got block booked for other dates that again I was supposed to be filming. So it's changeable. It's like you have to just, it's very rare that your week and even your month is going to play out the way you thought it would, because so many different things can change, and it always does. It always, like this week, it kind of went relatively to plan. I was mostly teaching, but I was focusing on the script that we're going into pre-production with. And then I got called for an audition. So I was actually supposed to be at a premiere for a film that I'm in, and I had to miss the premiere because I got called away for the audition. So I was all excited to go to this premiere, and then couldn't
Whoa.
go. Like it's
Whoa.
yeah, you can have a loose schedule, but it's
Yeah.
very rarely going to work out that way.
Got it. I get it. You said you're an organized person, that puts up, you do the combat training, you do the stunt performing, you train yourself. So once you are involved in such things, you are organized person, because it only happens when you're organized.
Yeah.
And I guess being flexible is the new organized for you. It's
Yeah.
kind of new definition of organized, because your plans change on the last minute, and hey, I can't do this, or even there's premiere and you have to shut that down. And I get it. It's kind of filled with a lot of things for you. Is there any exercises that you do, when you get up, related to professional field, when it comes to acting? Is there anything that you follow when you get up on daily basis?
Oh yeah, without fail. Like I have my daily rituals, because I think particularly in such a chaotic, intense industry as well, you have to be mindful. You have to be like looking after your physical health, particularly your mental health. I'm a big advocate for mental health, but
Yeah.
I will every single day when I get up, I do breath work. I do a little bit of meditation and a bit of breath work, because I need to kind of balance my system to prepare myself for the day, because I never know what my day is going
What's
to
going
bring.
to happen?
Yeah, so it's very simple. I start with like either box breathing or 4-7-8 breathing, and it takes like 2-3 minutes to do. And then I'm also big into affirmations, so I'll start my little manifestations, my little affirmations, my breath work. If it's not too rainy outside, if I'm not in Ireland, and especially if the sun is shining, I'll ground. I go out and just, as I'm having my morning coffee, stand outside and just present. Just I think it's really, really important, because I think a lot of people, what we do in the morning first thing is normally get up, look at the phone, and then you're bombarded with information, and you're getting into fight or flight mode, and you run around, and it's very easy then to spend your day completely ungrounded. So it's like, go outside, just take the few minutes, minus the phone, just be present. And that's what kind of mentally sets me up for the day. And I think that's how I can adjust to the shifts and the changes of the day. It's because I'm balancing myself before my day starts.
Got it. Yeah. I get it. That's where the fact that you are not friends with technology kind of get it. You kind of feel with real person.
Technology. Very reluctant.
You kind of feel with mental health, and this thing that you practice. I think you also got accent coach website, as that's where you train actors with the way that you approach for. We're going to come on that too also, but I guess that's this method and this prep that you have for getting up, and all the affirmations that kind of help you too, because you, being a busy actor, what we can say is getting filled with a lot of messages, a lot of commitments, and a lot of events and premieres, and shoot days and locations also nowadays. So I guess it's filled with that, and that only makes you kind of buzzed with all this noise. You have to, hey, calm down, let's focus one thing at a time. Let's get out of this. First of all, let's breathe, let's do that. And I guess that's where you get in.
Even just for a minute, it's so important, because life is so busy, I think, for everybody, but it's very easy to lose track in that and just get caught up in that cycle of rush, panic. So it's really important. So like I every day, most days after I've done my breath work and stuff, I try to go to the gym first and just go into, and I have a personal trainer. Like I have a program that I work with, but it's not just for the aesthetic, it's mostly for the mental health benefit.
The focus.
Exactly.
It puts the whole, what we see, the energy to one spot, and I guess that's where it goes. That's where you come into systematic mode, organizing. Even the flow of emotions is very important for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now, as we are talking about Aisling in 2024, I'd like to go back to that Aisling who was a kid, was in school, in college, the period where she had no idea about what this field is, but she got kind of attracted to this whole world of acting, drama, music, theater, films, cinema. Let's jump back to that period where you first of all got to know about what this field is. This is called as acting. These people are doing things which is not real, but it feels so real, and I want to do that. So what was that phase? What was that period? How old were you? Were you in school? Were you in nursery? When in kindergarten, or were you in school or in college? How you got attracted? Kind of magnetic field, what we can say. How you got attracted to this?
I think I didn't know it, but as a kid, I had a like as a lot of children do. I had like a very active imagination. I was quite a shy child in school and everything like that growing up. First, it's not that
you still, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But
I get it.
Yeah. So I always enjoyed my own company. But I had like this massive imagination, and even with my toys and everything. I wouldn't just play normally like with like dolls. That used to bore me. I'd have to create a little world. Like, so I'd have like multiple toys. I always remember those toys. What were they? Trolls? The little troll dolls.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd create like this crazy world. I actually built like a little complete universe around them. And every single one was its individual character, and I'd give it a different accent. I didn't know I was mimicking. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of naturally did it. And then like my parents, they always had me in like sports. Like, so I was always like, I was doing Irish dancing, I was doing martial arts. We were very active, and they always had us outside.
Killing people.
Yeah, exactly.
Breaking bones.
Yeah, understanding force. But they always encouraged imagination. They encouraged that side of me, the creative side. And I used to like to draw a lot. I used to like to sing. But everybody, when they would see me playing and hearing me doing the accents, they used to always say, "Oh, she belongs on stage." I didn't know what that meant at all. It never registered with me as a kid until I was going to school. And when I was in school, like secondary school, obviously we used to always have the annual plays. But I was so shy that I was terrified of the idea of acting. And I got pushed into doing it in school because, again, with the mimicry, because I could also mimic people, how they walk, how they move, how they carry them. I was able to take people off really, really well. So my teacher in school was like, just try it. Like, just she like pushed me into doing it. And I didn't want to go for any like the bigger roles because I was too shy. So my first official role was a tree. I was comfortable playing the tree because I had like loads of stuff hiding my face. And
kind of sitting quiet and just watching people.
Yeah, I was the best tree. Like I really played that.
Oh yeah.
But that was kind of my first ever real understanding of the things that I was doing, how it equated to, oh, it's actually in industry. This is actually a thing that people do. Yeah. And kind of
good. I guess tell me about your parents, because you were training martial arts, combat, and, kind of training yourself really hard where at really young age, and suddenly this acting thing happened. But how do you got into martial arts, and how do you got, like, is there a history behind this particular thing?
Yeah.
Tell me
So my parents, because it's just me and my sister, 2 girls. And my dad was like, I think it's good for discipline for a start. Like martial arts is all about discipline. But he's like, for 2 girls, I want them to be able to take care of themselves. And he put us. They just wanted to try. Like, they were never pushy parents, but they're like, let's just try it. And of course, I loved it. So yeah, it was amazing.
It was the genes.
Yeah, like, so my dad did karate with us for years. We trained right up to black belt together over the years. Like, so that was an incredible time. And I stuck with it. Then I branched out into a couple of other different disciplines, but they also had us in Irish dancing. We were, into horse riding, everything. So we were very, very active kids. And my parents, like, anything we said we wanted to try, they're like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's try it. And then if we didn't want to continue, they're like, that's fine. They were really, really supportive and very like, cast your net wide and find things that you enjoy outside of school, outside of just education. They wanted to encourage well-rounded individuals, I think. But
and that
it started young.
Yep. I get it. And I guess they treat it like all the physical games and activities which are really important for, in order for the self-defense, in order to discipline, importantly, organizing yourself, don't be lazy. I guess that's the part they focused on. And look how you turned out. It's awesome. But this accent part, I didn't get it. How this, like you had no idea you can do accent and somebody figured it out. So how did that happen? Like, how were you able to do that?
So I again, from a young age, I just did it. Like, I'd hear an accent, and I would just be able to not just mimic it, but absolutely nail it. Like, I could do it perfectly, and I could stay in it. That was the thing. And as I got older, I used to do it for fun. I just, used to do it with friends, or anytime we went away, my friends would be like, "Oh, pretend you're from here." And I'd for the whole duration of the time, like if we were in London, I'd pretend I was from London, and talk to locals, and they'd never know.
Wow.
And when I lived in Scotland for a while, and I really noticed it when I lived there, because I actually lost my own accent because I was surrounded by a really thick Scottish accent all the time. And I lived there for so long that I took on the accent, so that when I was coming home back to Ireland, I couldn't remember how I spoke. So this is insane. Like, I can't. And I had to listen. It still happens sometimes if I do an accent for too long. I have to listen to old videos of myself to remember how I talk. But I could never understand it. And more actors were coming to me as I was going through training and everything, saying, how do you do it? How do you do it? So I'm not really sure. But at the time, I was also studying psychology, and I was working with kids who were nonverbal. So I learned a lot about the mechanics of the mouth and how that all works. And then I was training as a singer as well. So I was learning a lot about breathing and projection. And, then I was doing yoga and things like that, and learning about breathwork in the body and manipulation, all of that. And I just kind of started to put it all together. And I just happened by chance to reach out. I think it's a long time ago now. I reached out to a guy called Paul Meyer, who's actually a vocal coach. And I did a session with him. And I just said, I was like, I don't know how I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, help. How do I do this? What is happening? And it was a really funny session. So he talked me through like focusing on your mouth, like this is what is happening. And he helped me to kind of master the muscles. And then I was able to understand how I was doing what I was doing. And then therefore I was able to teach other people how I was doing what I was doing. 'Cause for the longest time, I knew I could do it. Someone would say, do this accent, do that, mimic that person, no problem. But I never understood how. I was just purely doing it by ear.
Got it. And I guess this was the hidden talent. It's kind of superpower, what we can say, for an actor to have, kind of change accents. Like that's you are the gold mine for any costume director who's looking to cast you. And it's kind of like she can change accents like within seconds. And I guess that's the beauty that you have with you, that you have no idea that what's going on, and somebody helped you, and that's where you understood like it was indirectly happening inside you. You had no idea. We're training for singing, which is related to voice, and you're training for kind of preparing the breath work, and the trainer who's voice coach who told you, okay, this particular part is how you're getting this. This is the part where you're kind of figuring out how you're trying to change, and this is happening naturally for you. So I guess these are the things that are really really kind of imbibed, and it happened naturally, so you don't have to work out on that particular part. And it's commendable that this is how it happened. Okay, so tell me about the part where we're now discussing about how you got into the first play that you did, how you got into acting, because I guess it was most of your childhood was filled with all the physical activities. So I guess you were in 9th or 10th grade, maybe 6th or 7th. After in your teenage, that's where you got connected to acting. So what was that? How did you perform in the play? What was that play? Tell me about it.
So it's kind of like you do reach an age, I think most actors will agree, that you're kind of not sure what this industry is or how to navigate it. So you make other plans. Like you think, we're going to go the corporate road. And I did that too. You go do the real job, as people say. But you always kind of find your way. It pulls you back. Acting pulls you back. And over the years, I was doing work with friends, and then your network starts to expand, and maybe like, oh, I'm doing this short film, or there's this music video or whatever. And I just randomly, completely, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was sitting at home one day, having just come in from work, one of my first jobs, and this ad popped up for the Gaiety School of Acting, and they just opened their books for a new year. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about theatre. That sounds interesting. Don't know what's involved in training. And I messaged them, and you had to audition to get into the school. And I was like, oh God. And they had time like the next day. They were like, oh, well, the program's going to be starting soon, so we're finishing the auditions. Could you get there tomorrow? And I was like, okay. I had nothing prepared. I had no idea what they were going to ask me. I knew absolutely nothing. I rocked up completely ill-equipped for what they were going to ask me. And they were so lovely. They were so accommodating. And every time they were asking me a question, I was like, I don't know what that is. Okay. And I just went with it. But they were so lovely and so helpful. And I got in, and I started training.
They saw in you.
Yeah, I don't know what they saw. They were really nice.
Maybe the accent.
It could have been. It's kind of a blur, even that audition, because I was in sheer panic mode. And then I started training, and from there, that's how I got into theatre. Theatre is a whole different world to film. It was a shock to the system, but it was an incredible experience.
Got it. And you're telling me there is no school involved, like you didn't perform in school, please, or maybe in the college.
In college, no. No, in college, no. That's when I kind of veered away from acting for a while, because I was trying to figure out, what do I do? Like, because the normal route is like, you got to go to school, then college, then get the job, and, go follow the normal path. In the background, when I was in college, I did some stuff with friends, like just short films and music videos and stuff. But in primary school, I did plays. It was a lot of fun. They had like a little drama group, and every year you do like the end of year Christmas play. My poor parents, my God. Looking back at some of that stuff was bad. I hope those videos never resurface, because they're bad.
You think you're too bad in those plays?
Oh, we were all bad.
You're just part of those plays, not like interested, but just kind of activity for you.
To me, the weird thing was, it was like, for most kids, it probably seemed like, oh, they're taking part in the play, and it's a big deal. For me, it was where I belonged, so it just seemed like a natural thing for me to be there, to be a part of it. I didn't see it as like, oh, this is the big end of school play. For me, it was like, this is actually where I belong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So kind of school and stage plays, in school and college kind of shaped, just the start into this where you thought you belonged here, but
Yeah.
you never thought of making a thing out of it. You just thought like, that this doesn't seem like a future for me, and I should kind of look for what is actual happening in the world rather than finding a life and career in acting, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like, it's
Got
not
it,
really,
got it. And I
it's not
guess,
really,
and that's where after,
oh, not sure if you can still hear me. There you are. I don't know what
I
happened.
guess we are going up and down, I guess.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, go on. Continue.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
No, go
I'm not
go
sure.
on, continue. I guess
Oh,
we are
sorry.
lacking seconds behind, maybe.
There we go. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, so it kind of, in Ireland, it's not, at that time, it's not really, it wasn't really known that you could go and actually make a career out of acting. It was kind of more like hobby
Oh, God.
mindset. It's like, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, it's, it's a great hobby, and if it turned into something great, but you also had to have like the career to back you up just in case,
Yeah,
acting didn't really work. So it was kind of,
same here.
yeah, so it's kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out for a couple of years, if that makes sense. But I always stayed engaged with it as much as I possibly could. And then I just took the leap to just jump back into it entirely and forego the safety net of corporate.
Okay, good to know that. Good to know. Okay, I guess what I got from you is school and college were the place where you just performed, but at the end there was still not a thing that people go and make a career in acting. It was always seen as a hobby, and you figured out a way of getting into this was, this is something that everyone does it, and after college they leave it and actually go into the real job and do their corporate life, and that's where you thought it. And one day, once the ad popped of Katie and you saw it, you booked it, and kind of a less experienced, amateur, what we can say, amateur Ashling went to Katie and kind of trained herself and then built a career in acting, and that's what it looked like. Okay, good to know that. Now, we like to know, you entered, for someone who's amateur, someone who's entering into a training school, acting training school as an amateur actor, had no idea. People are asking, hey, what do you know about this? You said no. You know about this? You said no. So it's like constant no to those guys who are trying to figure out, hey, what we can do with her, kind of getting her into the school. And someone like you goes into the training period, completes it, becomes a brilliant actor, now doing really great. What kind of lessons you learned in the school, the Katie school, acting school, that stayed with you? How was that training process? And what are the important lessons that you learned which are still with you and you remember it when you are in the tough positions or when you try to approach for things?
So I think the thing with theater training and what makes it so important is that it completely, like, you can go out on set, and I can go out on set now, and it's very difficult to shock me with anything. Like, I'm quite settled, because when you do theater, you are pushed so far out of your comfort zone that you develop the mentality of you're comfortable being uncomfortable, because at no point in theater and on stage are you ever just like, oh, this is easy, it's going to go exactly how I think. They train you in such a way that you have to abandon any sort of insecurities that you have, any sort of shyness that you have, any sort of, I'm a little bit nervous about this. They just throw you in, and you either sink or you swim, and it just kind of makes you pretty much bomb proof, because you just get used to going out and bearing your soul. But when you bare your soul and you allow yourself to become vulnerable, you really find your strength as an actor. You kind of find what sort of actor you are. And you can only do that by going out, and just like, they strip you completely down. They strip away all your layers, everything that you think you are as an actor, everything. And they just really bring out your soul as an actor. And it solidifies your ability and your talent in you. And you really learn to trust yourself, because you're totally vulnerable on that stage, especially when there's an audience staring at you. So like, it can be a very nerve-wracking experience, but it really, really strengthens your belief in you as an actor. You become so much stronger in your abilities. And I think that's what's really important for actors, is to really know who you are as an actor.
Got it. And I guess this discovery of finding yourself and finding your strengths and finding what you can do where you never imagined is the thing that happened in the stage plays, in the theaters, in the training period of an actor. And someone like you who's very shy, you're kind of killing, breaking bones outside of this, but or when it comes to talking to you, you're kind of shy, kind of suspense factor we have here. Okay, so someone like you getting out there and crying and shouting at people and expressing the emotions, I guess that's the training that really developed. And you kind of told me where it really opened my eyes. Okay, she's trained that well. Okay, where she has no fear of getting surprised. Oh, I can't do this. It's like she's trained in a way where she feels like, okay, what next? Okay, what you have next? Okay, I got it. So you kind of open to every vulnerability what you have. You're kind of open to whatever comes to you. Okay, this is what we have to do. There's no shying out. That's not the thing. It's the job that we have to do as an actor. And I guess that's what opened you. And I guess the what do we say, the part of you that doesn't come out in the real world comes out in the fiction world, where we
Exactly.
can see the different Ashling who is crying, who's shouting, who's kind of falling in love. And yeah, she is kind of quiet and we can't think like, okay, what's going on? Okay, it's kind of to you. And I guess that's the beauty of theater. That's the power of theater, where you kind of train yourself and you kind of discover your own self in the new way. Where you think, okay, I never thought I'd be that. I never thought I'd be like, this powerful. And yeah, I guess that's what it helped you. Any lesson that you remember, as some coach told you, or some teacher or director, or any guest that who just bounced for 1 hour in that whole period, that really stayed with you?
Yeah.
Any one lesson that you still remember? Okay, this is something that gets me every project or anything,
Yeah.
is there anything?
It was a very simple lesson. I was I was doing the part of Portia Coughlin, which is quite a visceral, emotional piece. And it was weird because I wasn't standing. I had to sit for this role. So kind of with projection, you're kind of like, how do you sit and shout and make it believable? And I was so much in my head about it. And the coach, she walked up and she was so blunt. She was just brilliant. And she's like, what's the problem? I was like, I just can't get into it. And I was, like, I wanted to do it justice. And I kept saying, I, me. And she was like, Ashton, but it's not you. She's like, you're Portia. Just be Portia. And it was something so simple. It was like, it wasn't me. I wasn't supposed to be me sat in that chair. I was to just completely lose myself in Portia and just go with what my character was, go with who, like, just completely immerse yourself and lose yourself in that character. And the second I let that go, I let myself go and I just got into her. It came out totally differently. It was a completely different performance than what I had been trying to do. And I just, like she just said, it's just like, trust your abilities, lose yourself in your character. It seems so simple, but it's what I do in every single character that I take on now. It's like, it's not me at all. If someone is looking at me, that's what she said to me as well. She's like, if someone is looking at you perform and they're thinking, oh, that's, she's doing a great job, she's like, then you're not doing your job at all. Whereas if they look at you, they don't see you, they see the character. She's like, that's when you know you're acting. So it's so simple, but it's something that I've carried to the entirety of my career.
And this is really important, and everyone who's going to listen to this particular minutes or seconds is going to figure out, wow, this is the key. I mean, the words that you say, like, it's not you, it's Portia. It's not you, it's her. It's like, lose yourself. And I guess that is the hardest part to do as an actor, because if you're training in the early period where you've carried yourself and you have got responsibilities, you've got 10 things to do in life, and you carry yourself as a person or anything, you carry you, and then you think you have to do this, because then you have to kind of process that whole thing into turning milk into curd, what we can say, kind of getting into process part of that particular period. And that's the hardest thing to do, to lose yourself, to put yourself in somebody's soul, and then make people believe that that soul is real. And I guess these two simple lines, lose yourself and it's not you, it's kind of clears the whole thought. Okay, because I guess it's all our brain, it's all our mind, it's what we've trained ourselves, this is you, and this is what you do, this is what you believe, and it's hard to lose that. Once you train your mind to do this, what you said in last minutes, it's going to help all the artists who's looking to kind of excel in their craft. And this is beautiful lesson that you shared. Thank you so much. Okay, and now we jump on. As you got trained, you kind of completed. Now you are approaching for auditions. You got trained. You got out of the academy. How did you approach, like, for what was the prep process for you in the audition? Like, you've mentioned that you often played homicidal maniacs, which we discussed in the introduction. Many of the characters were like murderers who were trying to kill someone, or trying to revenge or redemption, going to intense drama. And when things like this happen, the person that you're talking to, lose yourself into that person. That psychology of that person is completely different from what normal people have. The thoughts and their history and their background is completely different. So when auditioning for such characters, what do you do? What is your prep process for just audition? How do you prep yourself for that particular audition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What's your step?
It's, again, it goes back to the thing of like, it's not you, it's this character, but you have to somehow identify with the character. You have to find the human inside of the character. So you could have the brief of like, they're this horrible person, but they're still a person. So they're still going to have something has happened in their life to bring them to this point. So you create the backstory yourself of your character. And I like to create, I like to build up real 3D characters, because every human has like internal conflict. You've got like, you've got your experiences, you've got like how you grew up. Like, I create this whole world around my character, and then I immerse myself in her. So when I go into the room, I'm not walking into the room at all as Aisling. I'm walking into the room as this character. I'm going in. It's not like some people are method actors, and that's great. I'm not a method actor, but I like when I'm going into the audition to show them that I completely understand the character. I've made choices. They could be right choices, they could be wrong choices. I have no idea, but I've made choices for my character. This is who I think she is. And I draw on, like, obviously I studied psychology, so I had a lot of material to play with, and reading real life cases. If you haven't studied psychology, like, go watch some of the documentaries. There's so much information out there, and just understand their psyche, because it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm going to do like this crazy thing, or I'm going to like, that's very surface level. But to really embody those characters, you have to understand them. So I educate myself on them, like, how do they operate? How are they out in society? What are their typical character traits? Like, just understanding how their mind works helps me then portray it more realistically on screen, rather than just doing like a theatrical version of what I think is a psychopath. I actually understand the psychopath, and I go in with that energy to the room. And it kind of,
it's dangerous when some girl knows how to fight. Someone like you who knows how to do the breaking bones kind of thing, and someone like you who's trained, like, it's dangerous to have you in this particular thing. But it's good to know that. Okay. So someone like you who knows psychology, so you're saying that studying the psychology and you being trained, kind of studied psychology, helped you a lot. So understanding the psychology, the three-dimensional part of the story. So just reading it and just, okay, this is what I think it is not going to help you to nail the audition. The part where you kind of go deep into the psychology, and you kind of create a backstory, and you kind of play with the psychology more than what is written on the script, is helping you to get into character, where whatever you play with the psychology is helping people to understand the character more better. And I guess that's the best way of yourself. Okay, this is how I go for auditions. This is how I prepare for any role, whatever. And majorly, the psychotics, the maniacs that you play. So I guess that's where this kind of psychology helps you. Okay, so tell me, what's your routine process when you get a call? Hey, Aisling, there's an audition happening in this place, and this is the script. Once you go enter and you get a character, she's maybe different roles on a daily basis. So maybe there is a businesswoman that you're playing, or maybe there's mother you're playing, or there is a nurse that you're playing, or there is some maniac that you're playing. So these roles are different, their psychology is different, their backgrounds are different, everything is different. But you're doing the audition now, so you have to do the process. What's your prep process like? What are the basic elements, the fundamentals? What we can say is, what are the basic elements and fundamentals that you follow every time you go for audition?
Absolutely, every time, whether it's a one-line role, or whether it's a big role, whether it's a small, tiny, teeny 2-second role, whatever it is, the process is the same. So because you can take a script, you can take a scene, you can hand it to anyone on the street and say, here, read that, give me a bit of performance, and everybody can do that. But acting is where you're taking this character. You might have limited information about the character, the project. Sometimes you don't even know what the thing is about. You've just got these little sides. I make decisions. I'll look at this character. I will make a choice about my character. Okay, what has happened in this day that this has come to this point? What is her mood? What is her emotion behind it? And why? What is her relationship with the other characters? I'll then go, like I'll make all my choices about my character. Like you make it up, you create this 3D character, you take it off the page. Like the dialogue is almost insignificant. That's just a little thing that you have to rattle out. But the important thing is the performance and it being a human experience. It should look like a human experience, a human having a human experience. But then I'll go and I'll look at who the director is. I'll go and look at their work and kind of see, okay, well, what kind of style do they like? Do they like more gritty? Do they like more humanistic? Like what is their, I'll go and look at some of their previous work. Then I will make a choice about clothing. What is she wearing? Why is she wearing that? What are the colors? You know, you kind of think about it. Now, I know it's not always possible to think about it all day. I know that in my experience, sometimes you get like an hour to turn an audition around. So you kind of have to like condense that process. But it's about
very little time.
Yeah, it's about making choices. Like, as I said, I always think to myself, anyone can pick up a piece of paper and read it. And that could technically be an audition, or learn the lines and just rattle them off. That's not, to me, that's not acting. To me, you must be in your character, whether it's a small little character or a big character, the process is the same. You become your character, and you can only become your character by thinking about who they are. Make them a real person, give them a life, give them a backstory, give them a future. And it helps. It comes across on screen. It helps because you're not just playing a role, you are this person.
Yeah. You're not just playing the role, you are the person. I guess that's the thing that should stick with you when you're preparing for an audition. And there's basic things that you follow. You know, the best part I love, you research the director, and that's some crazy kind of thing that you do, which is researching the character, because it really helps to, you know, what's the director's world look like, you know, because every director follows a pattern and the character looks like certain way, you know, when they're preparing for it. Because if you study the director, it will help us how their ladies look like, how their men's look like, how the world and small characters in the world, and what are their values and what they depict, you know, from that particular way. And I guess this is the best part to note down. Anyone who's listening is kind of research the director too, in a way. If you got an idea, most of the audition doesn't happen that way, but if you get a chance to, you know, who's directing it, that's the plus that you got. That's where you can, you know, go more into that. And what Aisling told is something that happened at a pro level. So whatever things that she told is not something that you go and do in the basic level of acting, but this is something that you should follow in the day-to-day, because something that you told here at this moment is what comes at a level of, you know, performing and doing stage drama for very good amount of time, like spending a lot of hours. So for these are the things that you told, which comes after an experience to prepare something like this for an audition. So this is kind of a best level and kind of pro level of auditioning, you know, where you prepare yourself in certain ways, you think like that. The mindset that you got is something that comes after years of performing. And if people can pick this up, it's kind of gold for you at this moment. If you can pick this and then follow this whole blueprint. Okay, it's good to know, Aisling. Okay, now we jump on. Actually, you told me about your performance and you told me how you prepare for an audition. Now we're jumping on to the part where the part which is my favorite now is Vikings. Okay, so the character's name is Sigrun, right?
Yeah, so Sigrun is a different project. It's a Viking-esque project. It was a short film.
Okay.
And it was done around the same time, but we did it. We were trying
to do both, like short film and the history project.
Yes, yeah. So Sigrun is actually a project that I produced myself with a group of other like stunt performers and other actors. It was around COVID time, so things were quite slow. You know, everything was shutting down, and we were just it started off as just a random little idea, just to kind of keep the creative muscles flowing, and then it just became this thing, and it got slightly bigger, and we just went for it because we had nothing to lose. We're like, let's just go for it. Let's just try it. And it actually turned out much better than we had anticipated. But the whole thing came about from a bunch of creatives who were kind of fed up around COVID because you couldn't do anything. So it's like, let's just work together if we can. Let's create this project. And then when it was safe to film together, we just got together and shot it, and it became Sigrun. And I got to use weapons, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, and you love that, you know, kind of combat training and martial arts. It's kind of filled with both. So I'm just curious here about the audition for the Histories project, which was the Vikings series. I'm just curious, what was the audition pitch? How did that happen? How you prepared for it, and what the room looked like? So tell me about that prep process, the audition pitch that you got.
It's kind of different. It's not your standard process, because for Vikings it was for stunts and martial arts. And it was someone had, I can't even remember now, it was a friend of mine sent me this casting call. Like, they're looking for actors who've got like this, this, and this. And it was so specific that very few people had it. So I rocked up and I was like, again, not knowing what to expect. I was like, okay, I've got martial arts, I've got this and da da da. And on the day I went out, it was a very, very tiny thing. It was like literally just a female Viking who could hold a sword this way and do this thing. I was like, grand. But while I was there, this is the beauty of networking. While I was there, I got talking to actual stunt performers. I wasn't a stunt performer at the time. And they were asking me, like, what do you do? And what have you got? And I told them my background. They were like, okay, do you want to train as a stuntie? And I was like, well, sure. Again, not knowing anything about it. And I got in with the stunt group who were the ones on Vikings, and they just started to train me up in a bunch of stuff. And then that was going on for a couple of years. And that was probably the biggest kind of kick into the industry that I ever had, because it's on such a broad scale. You meet all sorts of people, you get all sorts of experience. And with stunts, you never really knew kind of what the day was going to bring. So I think my life is chaos now. My God, 4 a.m. starts going, okay, I guess we're running up a hill for the day with a sword and shield. Like, it was just crazy, crazy time. But it was the people that were on that project, everyone, like the extras group, the actors, the stunts, the crew, it was an incredible time.
Wow, I guess it's memorable. The reason I wanted to know was I wanted to know the set experience and how she got in, and the way you told it's 4 a.m. call and you're running up the hill and prepping it. I guess this is crazy and more disciplined, and I guess you liked this because it's how you got trained in the childhood. Kind of prepping yourself, getting up, doing organized stuff happening around you, and maybe that's why it was the best period for you, because everything was organized and everything was disciplined. I guess that's the best part. And it's good to know like how you got into this. It was crazy thing that stunt and things that you had with you kind of locked you in with this. So it was kind of different process for you. Great to know that.
I think it's important, like any opportunity that you get, like sometimes the opportunity seems so small, but if you take it, it can lead to other doors being opened. Like on set, if I'd have been shy and quiet and hiding to myself, I wouldn't have spoken to these people. I wouldn't have gotten those opportunities. So like any opportunity that you get, make the most of it, because you just never know where it's going to lead.
Yep. It's great to note this part of you being part of the Vikings project. Now we are jumping on to something different now, which is the very popularly known The Troubles, which is now trending in top 10 in Amazon Prime. I guess in Ireland country, because it's Ireland story. It's like The Troubles, which is story of the Dublin story, right? It's a Dublin story, and you played a part of Siobhan McNally. So I literally Googled that because it was really hard to pronounce. It's really different. Yeah, Siobhan McNally, and it's like it's the same like your name. It's Ashling, and H is not silent. It's not there. So you just have to imagine, okay, there is H and I can't see it. It's kind of thing with Siobhan McNally. It's really popular character, I guess, and it's rooted in the history of Ireland, and it's rooted in that part where everyone knows about the story, I guess, and everyone is familiar with this particular story or around this situation because it happened. So in The Troubles, which is now on Amazon Prime, Siobhan McNally, can you share how you prepared for the role, which is the story which is rooted in depth with the Irish history? So what was your prep? And in short, help us to the global audience who's going to listen to this. I have no idea what Troubles and the Dublin story is. So tell us a bit about the project in short and about your prep process for Siobhan McNally.
Yeah, so the Troubles, obviously it's referring to the uprising in Ireland, and all the troubles that they call it the Troubles. It was essentially a war between the North and the South, and there was a lot of violence in that time. There's a lot of fractions and break-off groups, and it was like the Irish Republican Army, the IRA, and then who were splintered off into other groups, and it was a lot of difficult times back then for people. But violence was kind of, or the threat of violence, the threat of danger, and the threat of fighting was never that far away, even for normal people in their everyday lives. It was kind of always looming. So I had to, because obviously from my own history, like there's people I could talk to who lived through those times, so I got their opinion, what it was like, and they all said the same thing. It was just that sense of, you adapt to that sense of, at any moment something terrible could happen. There could be a bomb, there could be more fighting. It's living with that sense of on edge constantly. And that was one thing that I kind of wanted to bring into the performance with Siobhan. It was a different role for me because I had to be vulnerable, which is not something I'm used to. Normally I'm the one fighting. So to be on the opposite side of that, I was like, okay, I need to reverse my psychology here. And she was a mother protecting her child. So I spoke to my friends who have kids and what it would be like, and what would they do, and I got their opinions on how they would react, and it was, most of them were the same, some of them were quite surprising. So I tried to incorporate that again to keep it as real as possible. But the most important thing about that scene was the actors that I was working with, because they wanted to do it justice. We had to give a real, raw, truthful performance to really reflect what would actually happen. And I had to have trust in the actors that I was working with. And in one particular part of the scene where she is trying to protect her child, the male actor, who's actually a really dear friend of mine, William Delaney, a fantastic actor, he had said to me at the beginning, he's like, look, we trust each other. Let's just do this justice, but it's a safe space. So we both know that we can really push ourselves to the limit with our emotional performance and have that you're kind of anchored in each other, and it's a safe space, but you feel emboldened to really trust your gut and just go see what happens. And the director, Luke, as well, he just like kept the camera there, kept it going. I was like, let's just capture what happens. And it turned out incredible.
Wow.
It was a very, very visceral experience when you're trying to play someone who's vulnerable.
Yeah, and I guess you not being that easy with just sitting and watching things happen in front of you and just getting frightened by okay, this is going to happen. You kind of fight back. So for you, it was kind of changing the whole thing of okay, what it looks like for a woman who is just sitting down there and getting scared of things happening in front of her and kind of trying to protect her child with that attitude. I guess that is the prep. That was the challenge for you in order to be in that vulnerable zone of it's kind of scary things happening where people are getting killed, and I guess the war, it was a kind of a war for you guys in your country, and this film kind of focuses on how you guys dealt with it. So it's good to know that, because everyone knows about these characters, and it was kind of responsibility project where you kind of showcase what it was happening, and you kind of had that responsibility to portray it in proper way.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it. So we kind of focus now on the part of the growth that acting does in our life. We kind of there was Ashling, who was kind of shy but was good in martial arts and fighting, and then entered into acting and kind of developed yourself, the new you who can cry or shout or scream or get scared. And it also helps in the mentality, the psychology of dealing with people, communicating, being in that part of developing and transforming yourself as a human being. So what has been the most transformative role for you so far, and how did it push you to evolve your craft? So what the roles that you played in that, what was the one role that really, I can feel the change in myself? At the same time, that role kind of elevated your craft, because you're thinking this, now you're thinking this much, because you got this much in your bank now. So any role, can you recall?
Yeah, there's a couple of different roles. I think it's important as well. I do tend to get cast as one type. So I do think it's important to explore, where possible, take on roles that will give you the opportunity to explore something totally different. Like the most recent example that I can think of is a film that I did, Wheel of Fortune, and it's very comedic. I've never done comedy. I don't think I'm particularly funny. So when they were asking me to audition for this, I was like, I'm not sure. Like, and it was totally, it might seem daft, but it was completely outside of my wheelhouse and my comfort zone. And I was like, okay, I'll give this a go. And that was probably the most fun experience I've ever had on set. It was such a brilliant role. It's probably my favorite character to date to play. And it's something I never would have gone near in a million years. I wouldn't have actively sought comedy. So that proved to me that there is a different side to my style, that I can do that as well. And I can let myself go. I can trust myself to just, like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have risked doing comedy. I wouldn't have even tried it. So it was and now it's like, okay, that's another thing that I'm comfortable with, that I can do. And it's another side on my profile. It shows a completely different side to me. And then prior to that, there was a character, I won't give too much away about it. It's a film called The Green Man. And it pushed me to my emotional brinks as a human. You had to go to a lot. Again, it was different to what I normally play. Again, it was a vulnerable character, but like super vulnerable. It's a beautiful project, but there's a lot involved in it. So it was a very, very taxing role emotionally, mentally, and the crew that we were surrounded by and what they were able to capture and how they were able to support us just helped to really get you to go there, like to really just trust in it and just absolutely go for it, go to the depths, go to where you need to go and feel empowered to do that. It showed me just what I can do. It showed me how strong of an actor I can be when I have trust in the people around me as well. Those two roles in particular have been quite eye-opening.
Yeah, and comedy is something that you kind of think twice. Okay, is this really for me? And I guess that's the biggest challenge that you had with you. Like, okay, what if I do? And you took that shot, and it really worked for you. I guess that's where you kind of figure out, okay, I can do this, and it kind of helped me to unlock a lot of things inside me. And I had no idea this would happen to me, but yeah, it was a calculated move for you. And I guess this transformation kind of changed a lot of things inside you. And I guess this is the call. This is the things that you have to risk, and you have to do the calculative risk inside your career too, as an actor also, in order to unlock a big potential inside you. And maybe the comedy part really helped you out with this. The film, I guess we're going to discuss. Well, help me with the idea of what the film is.
The comedy.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant. It's such an amazing little project. It's about a family, or an aristocratic family. It's a bunch of rich, spoiled, squabbling siblings who are fighting over the family will. And the matriarch of the family, she's sick, and she's older, and she's so sick of her kids, and she's like, no. She sets this game to see who is actually going to receive the will, who's going to get what cut of what, and she kind of plays everybody off against each other, and it's just the depths that they go to win are quite deplorable. But it was just, and the director just had full faith in everybody. Our beautiful production director as well, Kira, was incredible, and John, the director and writer, he just had such a vision, but he trusted us. Like, he really trusted us with the characters, and the other actors, some of whom I knew before and was really comfortable with. My good friend Baz was in it, but the other actors as well, even the actor playing my son, and Matt. There was just so many incredible characters, and the matriarch weaving. We actually were like a little family. We just had absolute faith in one another, and we just played off each other's energy every single day. Like, going in there every day, everyone was just, it didn't feel like work. It just felt like, let's just go in and have so much fun. And it was the kind of project, like, even between takes, when the cameras weren't rolling, we were all just like, we were improving, feeding off one another. There's some scenes, I think the hardest part was like not laughing when you're filming. It's like, even where I was set at the table, it was filmed around a table for the most part. My son, the actor playing my son Jackson, is such a funny human. He's just so incredibly funny that you had your own little individual giggles going on in between, and then it was an incredible experience.
Wow.
But yeah, the improv, like, I've never done improv. If someone said to me, get up on stage and do improv, absolutely not. I would just, there's no way, because I was like, I'm not funny. But then with this one, you just felt empowered to just improv and just go with your character and let loose, and it was incredible.
Wow, and I guess that really helps improv being something that you got trained with in your training period in the school, kind of helps you out with dealing with these situations. And it's good to know. It's good to know. You're doing some lighthearted stories, and that's good to know. Your character is kind of cool and not killing. And it kind of helps you, because a lot of times you play something and it really comes with you at your home and kind of be with you for a very long time. It's hard to wash that character out. Something like this kind of helps you to, kind of keep things normal. It's good to know that. Yeah. Okay, now we are jumping on to the part where, to everyone, she's also accent coach. So she herself can do 35 different accents, and I can do only one or two. So she is coach. She has a website, which is mentioned down in the description. You can check, you can book that particular session with her. If you're in Ireland, if you are doing the online session with her, it's possible. Go down, check the link. We're now going to discuss on the part of how she go for the accent part in her professional field. So how do breathing technique influence your ability to switch between accents? I guess breathing is the most important tool in accents, in order to kind of switch it. So how does that influence the ability to switch between accent, and what role does breath breath control play in mastering different speech patterns?
So the biggest difference between accents, like actually the only real difference when you're doing any accent is how much breath you have in your mouth, like where you're breathing from. Are you breathing like shallow breath, or got like deep like breath with a released diaphragm? How much space is in your mouth? So it's like the air that's in your mouth. It's the placement of your tongue and where you're projecting from. So are you speaking from back here, the middle of your mouth, or the front of your mouth? Those three manipulated mechanics are kind of the base gears of what makes any accent. And then all you need to manipulate and fold in on top of that is signature sounds. Every single accent has a signature sound. Like, so they could have what's called rhotic heavy R's, like what I have. They could have sharp T's. They could have like spicy S's, and they have their individual melodies, like a song. So it's just putting those things together. So breath is absolutely really, really important. Tongue placement and your projection. And once you become aware of those and can control those, then all you need to do is, it's like a song. It's putting a song together. You listen to the melody of the accent, you pick out signature sounds, and you fold it in with those placements, and there you go. You have a new accent.
Wow. And I guess this is something kind of, the settings, what she discussed at this moment. This is the diagram of how it looks like, the blueprint of how you can just switch into accents. But it's really hard to do it. For me, it was really hard to even figure question, how can I put a question which will be something valuable that she can talk on it, and we can have some kind of good conversation on accents. So as a coach, here's the second question I have is, what are the most common challenges to students, actors face when learning or reducing accents, and how do you help them to overcome these obstacles?
The first obstacle, and I see it time and time and time again with actors by and large, we are terrible at learning new things because we want to be able to do it perfectly immediately, and we go into our heads if we can't do it straight away. And I always say to everyone I'm teaching, like, this is a safe space. This is where you need to make your mistakes. It's fine. Get out of your head. And then it's very simple. People come in thinking it's going to be as difficult as learning a new language. It's going to be really complicated, or they might class themselves as tone deaf, like they don't really understand pitch, and overcomplicating it. So it's like, I just like to break it down, and I say the same thing to everyone. It's like, everybody has a favorite song or a couple of favorite songs. You might not know the lyrics, you haven't got a clue of the lyrics, but you know the melody. You can hum along even briefly. It's the same premise with accents. So once you can hear, absolutely you can do accents. And I treat it like any other sort of choreography, or if you're going to do like Pilates or yoga or something like that, think of it as muscle, because that's what it is. If you go to a dance hall and you see someone doing a long choreography, you freak out because you're like, I'm never going to be able to remember all of those steps. That's a lot of work. But you build up muscle memory, and then pretty soon you're able to do the steps. You're not even thinking about them. You're just enjoying the dance along with the music. It's the very same premise. It's muscle memory. It's literally just retraining your muscles to manipulate and move ever so slightly. Once you do that, your body is going to make the sounds for you. So it's just taking the pressure off of actors and like just breaking it down and condensing it. It's actually very, very easy. It's just a little bit of different manipulation, a little bit of movement. If you move your tongue this way, this sound is going to come out. If you move it this way, if you let this air in, this sound is going to come out. You're not having to force that to happen. It just naturally happens. So it's just simplifying things.
Yep. And I guess this is something in depth and kind of requires a physical and, what do we say, on the spot, where people are there and you're teaching and it's happening. So tell me, how can people reach out to you with this website, and how should they book you, and where should they approach? Tell me a bit about how this process goes on with you.
Yeah, so I have a booking form on my website. If they just go into the website, they can pick days, or they can email me via the website. Usually what happens quite a lot with creatives is social media, or most of us are on social media. So they just message me through like my Instagram or anything like that, to say, hey, do you do this accent? Like, it could be a simple question. They don't have the time to go to the website. Just pop me a message on social media, and usually I will check and I'll get back pretty quick.
Got it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I'm very contactable.
Okay, so you can connect with her. Everything regarding this is mentioned in the description of this particular episode. So yep. Okay. This is what I got on accent, and I guess we pulled out some good content on this particular part. I didn't get much time on preparing for this. Is something that we do in front of camera, and it's kind of teachable, but it's like it cannot be described, and you learn. It's kind of where you are present there, and then you can. So we got as much as we can, and we got you connected with how she can teach you that. So yep, we are off the hook now. So like, we're now jumping on to the part where, in what ways the challenges you faced in the acting industry help you grow both personally and professionally? Something that pulled you down, the breakdown, the downfall, or something that killed your soul inside, and how did that help you to grow and build back up? Because that transformation is something that you cannot dismiss till you die, but it also makes you cannot build yourself kind of phase, and it happens every 4 to 5 years in anyone's life. Okay, it happens throughout that period where you complete the cycle and you go through that and you fall down again and pick back up. If you're a winner, you can pull yourself up. So what was that phase and how did it transform?
So probably the biggest thing that we have to deal with in this industry is rejection. And it's all the time. It is 90% rejection. And it can be super impactful. It can actually start to really break your soul. You can damage your mental health. It can break your confidence. And it has happened to me. I've absolutely broken down when I didn't get the role. I really thought it was my role and this was going to be it. And you put so much pressure on it. And you do a great job in your audition, and then you don't hear a thing. You don't get it. It's so hugely impactful. But a couple of years ago, I just started to kind of change my mindset. Like, rejection can be both, it's not nice, but it can also be an incredibly useful tool. And it's like, okay, why didn't I get that role? Maybe I need to maybe I'm looking at the wrong type of roles. Maybe I need to upskill in something else. But it's also an opportunity to retrain your mindset. And I teach I talk a lot about mental health with creatives. I actually have a podcast about it, like trying to build up mental health in creatives for that reason, because we're all doing this because it's our dream. This is the whole thing. Being creative, this is your dream. So if one rejection or one person or not getting answered by the agency that you've applied to, if that's enough to make you question your dream and question yourself, then maybe you should look at not pursuing this. Because if this is your dream, if this is what you want to do and this is your calling in life, then come hell or high water, you're going to keep at it. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep doing it. And over the years, I just built up that resilience. And I tell myself all the time, I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I just know that it is going to happen. So even when I'm getting ignored by the agents, even when I'm getting ignored by the directors, even when I'm getting rejected, I always practice a bit of gratitude with it. It's like, look, it was great to get that audition. Isn't it great that I'm in the position that I'm in? And just keep going. Don't let the stumbling blocks tear you down. You must build up that resilience in yourself. You must build up that mindset that this is your dream. No one is going to take that dream away from you. No one is going to stop you. You just keep going, keep putting the work in, and keep believing in yourself, and it will happen.
Got it. I guess that particular part of keep believing in yourself, and nobody's can put you down. And if one call can put you in the thought of questioning your dream, and you kind of pulling the lights, just shutting it out, that part where you question your dream, if that is happening from one call or one audition or one project, then that's where you need to think twice. Why are you doing this? Is this the real calling? And that really sums it up. Like, okay, this means something, and you should be far-fetched towards, like, okay, things happen. It's part of the business. It's not something that it's the only thing. It's the part of the whole thing. It's going to happen.
Happens to everyone.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. As we discussed on the part of, you worked in 3 different industries. You're currently in Ireland, but you're working in the UK industry. You're working in the US industry. 3 different industry, different kind of atmosphere. Different countries, first of all. But I want to know, how is the atmosphere, environment of filming in these 3 countries? What kind of difference that you see in UK, in Ireland, and in America? How is the way of treating people, working on projects, prep processes, on the equipment, set design? What is the overall difference that you see, and which one is the best for you? Which one you love the most till the moment?
I think, well, the thing with home productions, obviously in Ireland, even on bigger sets, people. Like, there's not a set that you can go on in Ireland that you're not going to know people. You might know some of the crew, you might know some of the other actors. Like, you're going to know people.
Yeah. It's home.
It's home. Yeah, you're going to know people, and no matter where you're filming in Ireland, because it's so small, you're never that far from your actual home. So it doesn't feel like you're gone like miles away to work. You don't have that kind of isolated feeling. It's just over there. So
it's
even
like, these are your people.
Exactly. Yeah. You're home. Like, it could be your friends. Like, it's happened to me so many times where I've walked out on a set and I knew loads of people there. I didn't know they were part of the project till I went out. I knew a lot of the crew. I've known the other actors. It's like, oh my god, yeah, hey, oh, you're here too. Oh, cool. It's a really nice feeling.
It's good.
Yeah, in UK then same thing. Like I love working in the UK. I do have quite a big network over there, so it's a little bit similar to being in Ireland. Like it's the same kind of culture as well. Like it's, you know, and
so
I know
culture is same.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's like the lifestyle, the whole thing is kind of the same. In the US then, or even in Europe, like you have that sense of you're much further from home. So it does feel like, oh, I'm out here on my own. You do automatically have that kind of psychology, like I don't know anybody. And in the US, the scale of everything is just big. Everything is bigger. So everything's just way bigger. So it just seems slightly more daunting. And it's
daunting.
Yeah, because it's so big. Like the crews are huge. The sets are gigantic, and even the trip to the set is huge. It's long, so it's totally kind of a different world because you come from Ireland where it's so small. And there's a bit of a culture difference. I do like working in the US. I think with Ireland and the UK, how we speak to each other, there's a lot of sarcasm in Irish humor. There's a lot of self-depreciation jokes in Irish humor, and that's sometimes not understood. In the US, they think you're serious. They take it literally. So sometimes you have to explain that you're actually joking. It can be a bit of a culture shift, but they're all incredible. Like it to me, I don't particularly have a favorite place where I film. It's kind of more like the project and the people that I'm going to be with. But they definitely all do have their differences and their quirks.
Got it. And I guess it's a part where US is more larger than life picture for you, where it looks like, oh, it's too big and kind of daunting for you, where you think, oh my god, just breathe. And Ireland is kind of home for you, where you think, okay, these are my people, and you can work comfortably on and off set. It's kind of free atmosphere for you. You can breathe free. It's what you say. Okay, I loved it. I thought you just going to answer, okay, everything is same. I don't see a difference, but this was crazy. Okay, good. Okay, and now we focus on which just the part is, the actor's home. You're the producer. You are also the Irish producer. What we can say for the actor's home. How did you got involved in this initiative, and what's your vision for the program in Ireland? Because what I heard is the casting director from Spain is heading this thing, and she is running. So you are, what we can say, the Irish producer for the actress home. So what's your vision with this? And in short, in brief, tell us about this, because it can help actors also about this whole thing.
So the Actors Home is an incredible initiative that was started by a casting director called Lucy Lennox. She's actually Irish, but she's living in Spain. That's where her studio is over there. Incredible woman. But I did a course with Lucy called it was the Frankenstein Blueprint. So it was a short course. I did it a couple of years ago, and we got connected that way. And just kind of at the start of COVID, she got in touch and she was like, I'm having this idea, because she's very actor focused. She's very, we need to be minding actors, we need to be minding creatives, we need to be creating this community, because it doesn't really
community.
Yeah, there isn't really one. Like every country might have their own little bubble of actors, but you don't know anybody outside of that. You only know the people that you work with. You have to do all these different courses and these different things all the time as actors. So it's like a lot of time and energy and money. And then when you're on your own, like as an actor at home, like you're doing your self-tapes, you're seeing things on social media, it's very easy to get the mindset of isolation. It's just you're on your own. You don't know what's happening. You don't have access to this information. So she's like, she's very bold. She's like, I want to create a global community where creatives in any country, no matter where they are, what their experience is, can come together. They can talk openly. They have access to professionals who come in and give workshops on the platform. Like we have people come in, talk about headshots, talk about showreels, talk about this, and this. And then she's big on networking, like actors and creatives should be getting out there and networking. How do we connect them together? And she started talking to me about this just at the start of COVID. And she asked me would I like to be involved, and I was like, I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea, particularly from a mental health perspective. I think this is a needed community, and we've just started to kind of build it out from there. And we've got like actors from, I think, pretty much every country now on board. And one of the things we like to focus on here, what I like to do in Ireland, is going to the festivals is something that creatives need to do. You have to network. A lot of actors don't like to network. It's a very daunting, scary thing. I personally love it. And it's bringing going together as a group and having the support of one another and having your events there and making networking a paramount part of being your actor. You're not just sitting at home waiting on auditions. You're actually actively out there building up your network and learning more about the industry and getting more involved. And just it's flourished in the last while, but I would encourage everyone to check it out because it's kind of like a big giant global creative family. It's been a pleasure to be a part of it.
Great. It's a part of networking, and it's important. And actors feel like, hey, I don't feel like going out there and kind of doing that part, but it is important. Networking really helps you in order to put yourself in, just the recommendation part, or just the part where you can be considered for a role or project, or something's going on and your name pops up and someone can send you that particular part or the script, or just sign you, hey, I want you on this project. So I guess networking helps us to, hey, I know this person, I'm looking for some person, and do you have someone in mind? And that's where that link happens. So it's not like direct connection to it, but it kind of links you towards that part. So I guess that's where the networking plays a bigger part. And Actors Home is playing, I saw their Instagram, and it's really good, getting a lot of actors, like 10 to 15 guys onboarding every time, and all the international actors from different countries. It's really kind of creating a global community of actors where people can communicate, network, and see what works for them. But this is good initiative that you guys are carrying on, and it's really good. I'm also trying to come up with something which is called as the Actors Diary. This particular segment is now rebranded to the Actors Diary, and trying to build, kind of helping thing for international actors at the same time with auditions. And also when I saw them, okay, I get this is really great. I just came to know about this from you, which is called as the Actors Home, and I thought, like, this is really crazy and really good happening. Okay, so it's good to know. Tell the casting director, she's a founder, also member. She's doing a great job, and I love it.
Yeah,
When you meet her. Yeah. Okay, I guess we got it. We are running out of time. Look, it's 1 hour 23 minutes, and we are really running short of the time. So this is the part where we do the rapid fire question with you. Okay. I never thought it would take this long, but I have to get down to this part where we jump on the rapid fire now. So favorite role you've played so far?
Luna in Wheel of Fortune.
Luna and Wheel of Fortune. Stage or screen?
Screen. For me.
Most challenging accent to master?
For other people, probably the Irish accent. And it's because it doesn't follow any of the normal rules of accents. And there's about 954 different types. So it's very difficult. And then there's also Icelandic, because unfortunately shows like Vikings and all of that, it's not actually the proper accent. So people think when they're looking for Icelandic that's what they're getting. It's like, nope, that's not it.
Got it. Martial arts or stunt choreography?
Martial arts.
Who's an actor you'd love to collaborate with?
My dream is to share a screen with Meryl Streep. That would be the dream.
Okay. Any reason why? Inspiration?
I think she's amazing. She's like one of the best actors on the planet. She can play anything. Incredible.
Okay. Wow. Good to know that. Dream role you haven't played yet?
Oh, I've always said probably something like the Bond villain. I would love to play a Bond villain.
Yeah. I see that coming. The way you've trained, it is perfect fit for you. Comedy or drama?
Drama usually, but I don't know. After last year, I might be veering towards comedy.
Good to know that. Favorite place to film? Ireland, UK, or America?
At home, Ireland for sure. If it's nice, if it's not grey and raining, if we do get sunshine.
So it's bad when it's raining?
It's just constant. It's just very grey and wet.
Okay. That's what I see in the series, in Vikings and all. It's always grey and it's always yep. Got it. Best piece of advice, acting advice you've ever received?
Take risks. Don't be afraid to take risks. Just be bold. Put it out there. Leave nothing behind. Just take risks.
Good. If not acting, what career would you pursue?
I think I've tried so many different careers over the years, and I've always come back because I'm naturally a creative. So I think I'd still stay in the creative realm. So probably producer or like acting management or something like that.
Related. Good. It's good that you're getting to do this. Okay. So yeah, that was a rapid fire. It was really rapid. It kind of finished within the moment I thought we started, and it got finished. Okay. So Now we jump onto the part where we would like to know from your expertise what kind of advice you have for the people who are just starting out, who are into this field. So you are someone who started out as a shy kid. You just got into school, you just got into college, where you thought this is something which is you love, but you never thought this is an option to it. Then you jumped into school where you got trained yourself in the KT school, acting school. That's where the real transformation happened. And that's where you trained yourself, your mindset training, your psychology training, the way of approaching towards things, and the way it's not you, and the way of just go all in. It kind of shaped you differently. You trained yourself. You've been in feature films. You've been in lots of auditions. You've been selected, nailed it in a lot of bigger projects. Okay, you got good results, and then you're also very good at networking too. In international, because you're not just in Ireland, you're in UK, you're in America. You build your connections, you build a network. Throughout these years, you transferred yourself as an artist from someone who was very shy to someone who is now making connection globally, and someone who's making the changes in her by putting and taking the risk for doing something which is not in her area or zone, which is getting into comedy. So if you are doing this kind of things, what advice you have for someone who's just starting out? Maybe not the 20 age, maybe not in the 20s, but who's just starting out in this field, who's failing consistently in auditions. What advice you have for that guy, that girl?
There's a lot of different paths to acting. Like, no one's path is the same. It's not linear. It doesn't follow the same pattern. So stop comparing yourself to others. Stop looking and saying, oh, well, how did she get that? How do you get that? It's not the same for everyone. Everyone individually finds their way there. And I think it's having that self-belief. It's so important, because this can be a really difficult industry to navigate. You have to believe in yourself that this is where you belong. This is what you want to do, and you're going to do whatever it takes. Like, a lot of people can't afford to go to big fancy drama schools. That's fine. You don't have to go to drama school to be an actor. You don't have to have the most expensive headshots. You don't have to have the biggest, shiny, brightest showreel. You don't need. It's not a must to have all of those things. You can be an actor sitting at home. You don't have any great equipment. You've just got your phone. Film something. Create your own work. Get those creative muscles going. Don't be waiting on auditions. Like, get out there, work with friends, film your own stuff. Figure out how it works, and start to slowly make those connections, because your network is going to be the most important thing to you. That's your community. That's your support. Join a community like the Actors Home. Ask questions of people like, how did you do that? Did you know someone who does this? Do you know, like, I'm confused on this. Don't sit at home and isolate yourself and think that you're on your own. Like, reach out to other creators, because throughout most of my career, I've picked up the phone, I've gone on social media, and I've reached out to other creatives and asked them questions. And 99.9% of the time, they respond, because we've all gone through it. And I personally, I like it. I love supporting other creatives. I love if an actor, and it happens quite often, like, oh, I'm struggling with this, or I don't know what to do with this. Like, what would you do? It takes 2 seconds of my time to respond and give an example of what I have done, because chances are what you're experiencing, I've experienced. But it's self-belief. This is your dream. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't look on social media and think, oh my God, their life is so amazing and they're doing this, they're doing that. Yeah. Don't focus on anybody else. Focus on you and in your means, in your ability. What can you do every day, taking a little step towards your dream? Do you write your own monologue? Do you film something? Do you, are you going on free YouTube tutorials and learning how does the camera work? What are camera angles? And just educate yourself. It doesn't have to always be the extremes or the big things. There's little tiny steps that you can take every single day. If this is your dream, you're going to find a way to make it happen. Just have to believe in yourself.
God, this is incredible. I never expected this from you. You kind of went on and on and on and on and on. Wow, this is incredible advice. You just note this down. You can just edit this video. If this is on Instagram, just download it, put on the notes, and just write it down what she said. And this is incredible, where she says, like, if you really want to achieve what you're looking to achieve, then you have to have a path of focus that is really important, a discipline which is really important, and you should do it. You should go in and ask all your doubts, become a part of the Actors Home, where you can go constantly, reach out to people, ask for help. Hey, I have this plan, I have this doubt, how do you do it? And if you go and ask more questions, and if the same person you're approaching is more free to answer, then it's the best network that you have, and it's the best way that you can solve your problems. It's not the problem that you have a problem. The problem is if you don't go and solve it. That's the biggest problem that we have here, because if you don't solve it, then it stays there. It's like one more day you're staying with that same problem at the same stage. It's if you go and solve that, then you're taking one step towards the solution. And I guess that's what she is highlighting here, is kind of go and figure out how what you're dealing with and how can you solve it, and make sure that you achieve something. And there is a process of achieving it. You just don't have to sit down and just think and do the overthinking part here. So it's a great advice. Okay, I really loved it. I was listening to that, so it's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, great. And now we jump on to the part for your accent department. What we can figure out here is, what advice would you give to aspiring actors who want to develop strong accent and dialect skills?
It's just go for it. I mean, most people, by and large,
just go for it.
Can mimic a word or two. So it's very like if you don't want to pay for like going to expensive acting coaches and all of that, there's so many things out there that you can do. So a lot of people start off with I always say it's better to pick an accent, just pick one that you want to work on, and start to watch people who are from that. Like if it's a US accent, start looking at US shows, watch US newsreaders, and just start to listen to how they speak. You don't have to like actively listen all the time, but you can put on a show in the background, just have it there and play with the dialect, because the dialect is different to your own dialect, and just start to pick out the differences, but play with words. So if like, I always start off an accent by doing like one sentence and then flipping back to my own accent, flipping back to the accent I'm trying to do, flipping back to my accent. And it gets your ear really, really tuned to the differences between the accent. But it's don't be afraid to do it. And definitely don't be afraid to mess it up. Like, of course you're going to get it wrong. It's like learning to drive. You're going to get it wrong the first couple of times. Don't punish yourself for getting it wrong. It takes time, but just stick with it, because having any sort of an accent ability is going to be a benefit to you as an actor. It will open up different markets to you. There's also, obviously there's coaches like myself, but there's ways that you can just start to train. Be aware of the change in your mouth. Like if you're flipping and doing an American accent as best you can, what difference are you feeling in your mouth versus when you're talking yourself? Just start to kind of get aware of the mechanics in your mouth, and you'll be surprised how quickly you build up an understanding of what's actually happening in your own mouth when you're talking, and that will help you to build up your ability.
Got it. Okay, thank you so much for this particular advice. It really helps. It's in short, telling you how deep it is and how easy it is and how you can achieve it. It's simple, the way you have to practice out. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you so much for this particular advice. It's going to help a lot of people, And this is the one last question as we capture the time back. So we kind of covered the whole part with this race against time. So just last question. It's what's the most valuable lesson you've learned in your acting career that you wish you had known starting out?
Oh, that's a good question. I think comparison is going to be your enemy. If you start to compare yourself to your peers, to other actors, you start to build up self-doubt in yourself. And I wish someone, when I was first starting out, had just told me very simply, like I've been saying, this is your dream. Believe in yourself. If this is what you really, really want, you're going to find a way. No matter what obstacles come up, no matter what difficulties come up, you're going to find a way to do it. Just stay the course. Just keep going. It doesn't have to be big dramatic leaps all the time. You don't have to be booking the roles all the time to consider yourself an actor. You're an actor if you're an actor. You don't have to be on all the big glitzy sets. You don't have to be, out there all the time. You can be sitting at home having not worked in anything creative for like 2 years. It doesn't make you any less of an actor. You're still an actor. It's your dream. Don't put the power in other people's hands to tell you it's your dream. Yes, they control whether or not you get work or you get seen or whatever, but nobody should tell you whether or not this is your dream and whether or not you should do it. If this is why you're here, this is your dream, do it. Just keep on going. Keep believing in yourself. Block out the noise and find a way.
Good. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much for this particular part where, it's something that you unlock after knowing it, and you develop this whole home of what if, and this is where you kind of discover yourself, and you come up with this answer of, okay, just do it, just go for it. And it's like there's a lot of opportunity out there, and you should just go and grab it. And even if there is a big pause, first of all, you are an actor, so you don't give power to someone else to tell you are an actor. You are an actor, and you should believe that, and you should train yourself, because as an actor, you're part and you're 90% of job is training yourself. And it's the best thing that you've told. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your journey. It's really good to know how you got yourself into this field. You trained yourself. After training, what kind of projects that you did. It's kind of crazy things that you got with yourself related to accents, related to the work process. It's the discipline that really helps you to get and achieve all this, and it's the schedule that wrecks all of this for you, that you have to get in control of. You get to get control of everything, and it's schedule that kind of kills, and that's the thing that's going on with you at this moment. But you are kind of disciplined and kind of a well-trained martial arts expert, what you can say. At the same time, you've trained yourself in accent also, where you can do a lot of things related to accent. So you're kind of multi-talented girl that I'm talking to, who's really kind of kicking ass in this industry with the work that you're doing. And I really enjoyed talking to you. It's more than 90 minutes. It's more than 90 minutes. And it was lovely knowing your story and how you got connected, and what's the way you think of preparing for a role or audition. And there's a lot to learn from you, and that's our job with this show, was to figure out the story of an actress from Ireland now, and how she got into this, and now she's doing changing industries in UK and America and Ireland, and kind of building a international career for herself, and how she got started. And that was amazing to cover your story in this particular episode. So it was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely talking to you. So thank you so much.
Okay, it is great. To everyone, all the links related to Aisling is mentioned in the description. Her Instagram, her work email, her, I guess, the public number that she has for contacting, the work number that she got for us will be mentioned. Her Spotlight, her IMDb, I guess these are the two things that she's using currently, will be mentioned. So if you're calling regarding work, if you're trying to contact her, even for people who's looking to learn the accent and kind of connect with her regarding accent, every single thing is mentioned, what she has for people regarding work and public, in kind of calling and connecting with her and trying to network with her. Go check her out on Instagram and follow her on Instagram, Facebook, whichever platform she's available, and mentioned in the description of the episode. So everything related to Aisling is mentioned. Make sure you go and check out and follow and connect with her. Yep, that is it. We've covered the major part of connecting with you, and importantly with the accent part, where people can connect with her from any part of the world. Book the call, book the session, and get the job done. Okay, I guess this was the plug related to connecting with Aisling on social networks, and we pretty much kind of covered the whole story. So to everyone, this is me, Ajay Tambe, the host and producer of Create Your Starting Podcast. Today with me was Aisling Goodwin from Ireland, Dublin. At this moment, she is in Dublin, so that's good. And it was great connecting. Big thanks to Clara Landrat, who connected her with me, and I'm praying for her. Hope she's safe and goes back safely to New York. She's kind of, I'm getting a notification, hey, this is happening, and I'm watching her stories of bombs and all, bombard and missiles. Everything is.
Yeah, I'm in contact with her regularly.
Yeah, and it's kind of a part where I feel terrified, and I'm praying for her that she goes safely with her family to back in New York. And thank you, Clara. Thank you so much. I pray for you that you go safe back home. This is me, Ajay Tambe, the host and producer of Create Your Starting Podcast, and now I'm signing off.